There was some discussion about the amount of people and the revenue generation from employing people for that 4-year period of time. How many full-time positions will be in place 20 years from now, as opposed to through 20?
Yeah, I think we're estimating kind of after the construction period, you're looking at between 20 and 40 employees. The benefits associated with employment are clearly within the construction.
Right, when you're damaging our region, when you're cutting new 75 to 150 additional feet to make room for this corridor, that's taking away from our ability to create new air, to reduce our CO2 emissions. You're taking more trees, you're reducing our beautiful sightlines. It doesn't matter that the people sitting on the river might not see it. They're not on the river all day. They spend time hiking. They're going to higher sightlines. The long-term impact of that to the economies of these regions that are grossly impacted by this is not going to compensate for the losses to our way of life. But we don't get the benefit of a kilowatt hour here in Jackman from that transmission line going through our beautiful region that people come here for our natural beauty.
Right. So I knew we're going to hang out. What I encourage everybody to do, and this is, as I said at the beginning, I think it's great that people are coming out and ask tough questions, they look for answers. To study, in the end, it's the impacts that you're concerned about. It's the impact that people that are talking about are concerned about. Balanced against the benefits. So some of the things that you said, I understand that your perspective on looking at the impacts, but from the benefits side, there are benefits from kilowatt hours that flow to Maine. There are reduction in greenhouse gases. So in the end, it becomes a balance of the benefits associated with the project for Maine versus the impacts. And I think everybody's going to have their own answer associated with that. So how much more time do we have?
I know you guys want to bail.
Okay.
Bring them over here.
There are 200
landowners in there who bought land to be in the wilderness. I'm going to get to look right straight at your power lines, but I'm not going to have power. I have to maintain my road. Just a couple of years ago, we had major washouts. Landowners spent well over $100,000 to maintain those roads. We don't have power, we don't have anything. We bought to be in the wilderness. My camp was specifically put facing Cobra Mountain because there was nothing there. Now I'll be able to sit on my porch, look at your power lines so long as my solar panel keeps working.
So I think
Well, I want those 200 landowners or anybody from Upper Enchanted to approach before this is, quote, a done deal.
Yeah, I mean, there is a responsibility to, and I would talk to anybody that's abutters to the piece which we did in a number of meetings.
Some of the landowners are fighting.
My understanding is you're about a mile and a half away.
Yep.
I'm not sure that that would be an abutment, but there's a
No,
nice.
our town line abuts Johnson town line where you are crossing at mile 2 and go. There are landowners that
So
are
there's
fighting.
a nice visual simulation that gives you a sense of what the line will look like. Okay, we've got 4 questions over here. Yes.
Just one quick one. Ernie lives right near me, I live right next to the road. Would you do me a favor? Now, do you have on writing that this piece of property is leased to you guys or bought by you guys or whatever?
Yeah.
What I'm leading up to is, could you please put 2 posts to show people who are riding up and down Spencer Road with a sign that says proposed area so they know? Because Ernie will tell you, Wayne will tell you, half of these guys here. I've got 50 acres at the corner there. It's a mile and a half to where your crossing was. And I've never seen, you know, I'll tell you what, if you were a logger, you'd be cutting somebody else's property. You guys are not flagging stuff, right? Now, don't do this to me.
What? Don't do what?
Read.
Okay.
It's my second read.
Give me my card.
It's the same
Here's
show.
my card.
It's the same show.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
one more time. Will you put some signs up that say proposed site for...
I will ask a question about what the impacts are. I don't know what the rules
Well,
are.
impacts are nothing. We want to know what's going on.
No, I understand.
You know, you buy
I don't-
cars first, and they car know.
I don't want to make a promise to you that I can't keep. So
Then what the hell are you doing here?
I'm answering your questions. We will look at it.
You're here to.
We can do that too.
Administer Vaseline to us. That's all I got.
So go ahead.
Thank you for being here to have this dialogue. I'm particularly interested if I could give questions to you as the environmental expert. So thinking about the petitions to intervene that were submitted to the DEP, as we know there were 23 and now 22 are going forward. Only 4 of those were in support of the project, profitable interveners of course. And as an environmentalist, I'm curious why none of those are coming from environmental groups. So I have 2 questions. One would be, how will the habitat improve for the 11 species that are either endangered, threatened, special species of concern be improved by the project? How will the brook trout habitats in the Maine State Heritage Waters be improved by the project? And then my third question, I guess, if I'm going there, is the 11 areas where the botanical rare species have been mapped out along the corridor. If we think about the ecologist study that was submitted by the Maine Natural Areas Program, how will those be addressed?
Okay, good questions. I think a couple of things. The Maine Natural Areas Program is working with us to identify what areas they wanted us to survey for rare, threatened, and endangered plants. We just Monday submitted the field survey report to identify the areas where certain plants have been on the list have been found. The way we protect those rare plants, we have some options. We can do work off-season, because a lot of these plants are only sensitive during the growing season. We can put construction or drain nets over the areas of sensitive plants. We can post them so that they're avoided during construction and make certain that there are no direct impacts in those areas by relocating any poles that happen to be in those areas right now. We can also make certain that the access routes to get to the construction sites wouldn't pass through those areas. They're not so common that they can't be avoided. That's part of the answer. A number of the species have time of year restrictions around them. For example, northern long-eared bat is one of the species of concern in this area. And we know that between June 1 and July 31, there's no cut period in order to protect the bat pups and the young bats during the wood turtle, which is also a species of concern, has its own time of year restrictions, which is broader. So each of those species, it's going to come down to avoiding their habitat directly and or avoiding it during a particular time of the year. In terms of cold water fishery, we're avoiding impacts of cold water fishery by maintaining a wider buffer around all perennial streams, all outstanding river segments, of which there are 5, and all streams that have rare, threatened, or endangered species in them, as well as by doing some habitat enhancement by dropping trees in and creating invertebrate habitat that the fish would feed on. And then we also have the plan I mentioned, the culvert replacement, which is going to connect some previously disconnected pieces of aquatic habitat. For example, hanging culverts, which are like small waterfalls. We would install a culvert to replace a hanging culvert that would suddenly make the land, the water upstream of that, accessible to species. So we have a number of measures that will help protect.
I think you had a question.
I've been coming to these meetings and I am a RAPCOT. I am worried about the board, but I'm actually worried about the entire 140 plus miles and what will be happening there. But at your meetings, I'm also a sales rep, by the way, so I recognize people who are trying to sell something. A lot of the information that I've been seeing, and as people are pointing out, has holes in it. And one of the ones that's been brought up in the Franklin meeting was the jobs and the contractors who would be coming here. You were asked, as you're saying, that this is money that will be pouring into the communities, a positive thing about this, and that's being sold to the communities. But when you were asked about this, the contractors, would they be from here? And you pretty clearly stated that many would not be because the skilled labor needed for these particular types of jobs doesn't exist in Maine. So it would be the smaller peripheral contractors coming in. A lot of money won't be coming into these communities. It'll be going to these big contractors from out of state. So what you're doing is you're painting a picture of this looks great and we're all supposed to buy it, instead of really being truthful. And that's not the only point. It's, you know, you talk about the clean energy that's happening here, but not about the global. Like what happens when there's not enough water up in Quebec because of a drought or because of, I mean, we've seen it here. We in the rafting community had a year where we had a scare where they weren't sure that they had the water to give us for rafting. That can happen up there. You're not telling that, you're only painting best scenario. We all know that, we all have best scenario thoughts about our lives. That stuff goes to hell.
So if we could go to both things, what I tried to say, and maybe I'd have to go back and look at how I said it, but what I tried to say, there were going to be people that would be paid in those counties. I'm not representing that every person that's going to be there, but there will be, part of that money is money that will go into hotels and restaurants, into communities, into people that are health services, you know, gas stations. So part of that is directly into the communities, into the businesses that are here. They're not going to have a lot of choice as to where they stay when they're here. The other part of that is the people that work. One of the big surprises that we found out was there are very many skilled journeyman labor people in Maine that are skilled who are traveling all over the country. And they now have the ability to stay home and work in their home state. And that was something that we were surprised by. And we also have some very talented construction businesses right here in Maine that have been major parts of past pieces of construction.
Yeah, but they're rebuilding the 201 down on the curve of Lyman, and that's it, the answer comes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that, but then to your second point.
When Quebec doesn't have the water and can't provide what they've promised, they're finding it through coal, oil, other sources. They have to, because you have a contract to give Massachusetts that power.
So right now they export about 30 what are called terawatt hours of energy to all the markets that they serve. And what you know, this is something that we've been working on with Hydro-Quebec, is that they're going to be able to, on a normal water day, a normal water winter, they're going to be able to serve all of that renewable energy with existing stored capacity plus capacity they built. A plant went in service just about a year ago. Another plant is going to go in service in 2020, and then a number of new capacity in 2025. So all that new capacity now with this new transmission line is going to be able to provide that incremental greenhouse gas reductions, not just for New England, but globally for North America. And I'm happy to talk more about that.
You can't guarantee the water.
What's that?
You can't guarantee.
So the question is, so that 9.45 terawatt hours, if they don't deliver it, there are significant liquidated damages associated that Hydro-Quebec would have to pay New England about that delivery. The most likely scenario would be that they're going to deliver less energy. If they had a really bad year, 4 years in a row of drought, they generally keep enough water in their stores to meet 4 years of low energy needs. They're mostly going to do it through lower sales to other communities.
There's also a lot of serious problems in Quebec being created by what they've done. That's going to come to bear too.
Right, and that's the other part that we're not hearing about in the PUC is we hear a lot about the New England energy component, but we really need to hear Hydro-Quebec's impact, because if they're building more stations, it's to help meet the demand, but that does have an ecological and a CO2 emission impact.
It's a fair question. I think you've had your hand up for a while, and then we have another person here that
I just have a few quick points. I hope it can be quick. First of all, I just want to say, so far it looks like this has been a bad day for CMP. I'm glad that people have actually, come out against this. I think that's really good. I'm also the president of a road association at Mile 4, 50 members. Our board of directors unanimously voted to take a stand against this. Just want to get that out of the way, and that's going to be a press release soon. So you said that from Beatty Township to the Forks is going to be 150 feet wide?
Yeah, that's the corridor that will be cleared. We actually own a 300-foot right away. 150 of it will be cleared.
Okay, so it couldn't be any more than 300 feet? Or let's say another...
Without having to go back and buy additional land.
But because of the...
How wide was it right away?
300 feet.
And you're only clearing 150.
So is it feasible that if there were a wind project out there that could ride along that 300-foot, or because of the adjacency rule, possibly more?
So ask the question again, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because you have a 300-foot right-of-way now, is it possible that an AC line might go to a wind farm?
It would have to be a parallel line to the
Yep.
existing DC line.
But only 300 feet?
What's that?
But only 300 feet?
You would use, essentially that other AC line could use that other 150. Now, if this project doesn't get built, just to be clear, now you have 2 corridors that are available for development. So this essentially would be reducing the amount of future development by one project.
Okay, one other quick thing.
I got a yes on that. I heard a yes.
So, Moose River boat trip. I haven't heard that once.
What's
Everybody,
that?
you ever heard of the Moose River boat trip? Oh boy, I got you. How many people here have heard of the Moose River boat trip? Okay, so that Moose River Valley, when you're on Cobra Mountain, you look toward where this whole monstrosity is going to go. There is a river that goes the whole length, and it's a really popular spot for people to paddle, and they will see that, I'm going to guess, a lot. So I'm surprised that there hasn't been any foresight in even thinking about the Moose River boat trip. You agree?
Well, hey, sign me up. We did, our whole development team went down the Kennebec River. And
Well, you had to, so you could say you did, right?
No. Hey, it's a fair question. We'll mark the roads and we'll take the trip.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
We have one more time.
I just wanted to respond that we did go to the Moose River within our project area, and we did assess visibility.
Did you do the portage?
What's that?
Did you do the big portage?
No, I did not do the whole.
Well, you didn't really do the Moose
Talking
River.
about the area that's closest to the project, we did assess that.
Okay.
It's not.
So how come there's no view sheds? Are there view
It's not
sheds?
vis- I do, it's not visible.
From the Moose River?
I do have some issues.
Okay.
Well, the people that actually watch,
All right. How much more time do we have?
You have about
10 minutes. Okay.
We played this left here.
They can wait for you.
I'd like to piggyback on this question. You talk about jobs that are going to come to Maine. We're looking at what, how many, you said 1,700 on
17 on
average?
average. The peak year during construction is
Right,
32.
which we've already established is probably people from out of state.
Well,
Then that will,
yeah.
fair enough, we'll bring in money to the local businesses, that stuff, great. However, you talk about CO2 emissions will be reduced by so many metric tons in the state. That means that you're going to be closing how many different power producers in the state of Maine because they are not clean energy.
So our analysis looked at how we ran our project with and without. So we modeled all of the generation in all of New England, all the interfaces across there, and looked at what happens to the dispatch with and without, what units run, and whether we think this project results in any retirements. We saw nothing in Maine that retired. Anything that we saw that were potential retirements were in southern New England, and these are...
That's not what I'm hearing from my father-in-law who works for Re-Energy in Jay.
Well, one of the things that, definitely one of the things that's going to happen from this project, and this is the issue we talked about lower wholesale energy prices, is prices are going to drop for customers. Their bill is going to go down. But what that also means is that, and business will pay less as a result, but it also means the generators that are selling into that market will make less energy revenues. Now, if you're a plant that's on the edge and you have less energy, there's a possibility. But biomass, I think, has some ability in some states to sell renewable energy credits, and they also can compete in the capacity market, and we don't see the impacts there.
Would you sign an affidavit for the lower energy costs?
What's that?
In your plan, you don't really see, you're saying, any of these plants.
It's a 20-year model that includes a lot of estimates in it. Our analysis showed London Economics was hired by the Public Utility Commission in Maine. They actually showed Connecticut retirements, if I remember right. So they also didn't show retirements in Maine.
Mr. Dickinson?
Yeah.
One thing. I just, what I was asking for is the town selection, I'm not in a hurry to talk to you. We pay those people. So, and they have nothing to do with this.
It's a public meeting.
I respect that. I also think
I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, spend some time with us.
I am. I got it.
We get $35 a game.
All right. I'm here to answer every question. Hopefully we can finish answering the questions before we go.
But the fellows are waiting. How am I supposed to?
My quick question is, if warehouses for Somerset Wind built 80 to 100 wind towers between Rockwood and Jackman, what I'm hearing is that you could accommodate that with another transmission line to AC. Is that correct?
There's enough room in the corridor from the Quebec border down to...
So in other words, it's going to be 300 feet wide.
It's
It's currently.
well, that's a fair question. The thing I would just say, just to remind people, is that if this project doesn't get built, then there will be 2 corridors that will exist there that have the ability to bring that. And what we're doing now would be reducing it to 1.
We get hit between 2 evils that we don't want either. We don't.
No, again, my point is, I think it's really valuable to get the information.
No, what's really valuable is our way of life, and you're screwing it up.
And I think
That's what's important, it's our way of life. And I think we go right back, straight up the hell to the Adirondacks. Leave our fucking name alone.
I understand. Yes.
If this project doesn't happen, if it is denied, what will Massachusetts' option be at that point?
They would have to do a new request for proposal. They'd have to look for new, different opportunities.
And there are other options.
Yeah,
they could do it themselves.
There were 51 projects that were bid into the RFP.
51 other projects.
Don't forget the money that Massachusetts is paying is our money.
Those are not all CMP, right?
Ask the question.
I haven't asked the question.
Yeah, okay.
I want to know how the ground is maintained on the line, especially in the watershed, which Jerry says.
Yeah.
I'm also work in the environment. They do spray. I know they used to spray like the best.
And it's true, there was recently a spray along the corridor heading up to the Kennebec River, and you can see a lot of death of some of the alders nearby.
Right.
Just going to the
I know how
watershed.
they manage. I know how they manage it.
Everything runs back into the rivers. That's in the ponds.
But there is
All runs back to the water. Eventually,
Yeah, I want to give you a good answer to your question. The problem is the person that needs to answer it isn't here right now.
yeah, that's a tall flex. How close is this to done?
Went to the select.
We need the Department of Public Utility Commission's approval in Massachusetts. We need FERC approval at the federal level, Department of Energy at the federal level. We need the Maine Public Utility Commission here in Maine, and then all of the groups that are part of DEP and Army Corps that are all part of that process that's going on. So there are quite a few approvals that are still required to move forward with the project.
You can answer a couple more questions,
Yeah.
and then you need to leave, and then some of the others can stay and answer any questions. And if we are not able to answer your questions, we would be happy to take your name and your question and get back to you.
2 more questions for me. Had you asked a question?
I have not
Okay.
asked a question yet, and I may have missed this because we were having a hard time hearing over there, but how do you, what I have read is that Maine produces enough power for its citizens already, and when other people were talking and you mentioned that we could not benefit from the transmission lines if they came in because of the infrastructure, whatever. So is it not, but now you're talking about the benefits to the main power system. So which of those is
Yeah,
true?
so there are 2 things. One is connecting into the line. So wind power can't connect in at a reasonable cost, and we can't connect a transmission line off of it. So that's one point. But the power is getting delivered to Lewiston. That power then in Maine gets delivered through Maine and through New England. So both things are true. Both things, the benefits that I talked about down here are real benefits because the power is getting delivered here in Maine. But it is also true that this line can't be tapped into either to serve load or to bring new renewable
So how
generation.
does Jackman's benefit from losing, Jackman River Force benefit from losing our way of life? If we're not getting this power directly, other than the maybe 20 to 40 permanent jobs with all the recreational impact and the potential of losing.
Well, it's the 40 to 45 million a year in lower energy costs. It's the
I've got a picture spot.
Why?
no. I respect everybody has their own decision to make. I just want to make sure people have the information.
Here's my answer. I've listened to you, I've listened to you weigh the positives and the negatives. There are no positives for Jackson. Because the tax benefits go to somebody else, all of the benefits are going somewhere else. And we live in a town that's been shrinking for 20 years now, 4% every year. It's getting harder and harder to maintain our infrastructure. And to destroy the environment, I'm sick of clean energy that destroys forests. That's not clean. And what's happening here is if this has any negative effect on our tourism in this town, it's gonna be a ghost town. Because 40 to 50% of our economy is tourism. So, and I know you're not the guy who's making the decisions, I'm just saying, take it back to those folks and let them know that they're talking about real people's lives. I'm not talking about whale life, I'm talking about life itself. Because we cannot afford to lose our tourism up here. And to be taken out the pristine beauty, and you say it's been logged already. It's going to be logged forever on a 150 feet wide tower. And when we talk about CO2 emissions, I wonder if we looked at the net CO2. Because those trees, according to my education, it's been a long time, but they used to absorb CO2 and create oxygen. And we're talking about a 50-mile, 150-foot wide clear cut. And they're not going to be doing that. Yes, we got some shrubbery growing up and stuff, and there's going to be some of that. But to just say that this is clean, I have a problem with it. And two, I'm concerned for this town. Because if CMP doesn't understand, and along with this whole wind power thing, you're destroying us.
Well, look, I think all your points are valid. The only thing I disagree